Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and I'm coming to you from Germany. Today is Saturday the 21st of October 2017. I'm so glad that you're joining me today for another knitting podcast. If you haven't watched before, I really hope you'll enjoy the show. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for sticking with me. I know podcasts have been kind of rare lately. Life just gets in the way sometimes. But today is a Saturday. I am still possibly a little less energized than usual, but I'm really looking forward to recording a podcast, so we'll just roll with it and see how it goes. And usually podcasting does cheer me up, so let's just hope for the best. I am once again recording in our living room because Kai is hogging our workspace / craft room / podcasting area, so we're just going to do it here, and I think it's going to be fine. Please excuse it if I am somewhat off today. It's just going to have to happen as it does. So I feel like I'm so out of it. I haven't recorded in 2 weeks. Last episode was also a bit of a hurried episode. We'll just see how it goes. And how many more times can I say that? So today I will talk about finished objects, works in progress, acquisitions, and possibly, but not quite sure, maybe I'll talk about life in general. We'll just, again, start talking about yarn, and I'm hoping the rest will just unfold. So before I get into all of that, let's talk about our current knit-along. We currently have running the Challenge KAL 2017, which is a knit-along with the point to do something that challenges you in some way in terms of knitting. So it can be trying a new to you garment. If you've never knit a garment before, you could do that, or a new construction if you've never seamed a sweater, if you've never knit a toe-up sock, whatever, that sort of thing. Whatever presents a challenge to you goes for the knit-along. We have cast on or started or kicked off the knit-along on October 15th, and it will run until December 15th, which should give us enough time. For this one, whips are not allowed, so any project that is cast on October 15th or later will count for this knit-along. We do have some prizes lined up, but I'm not going to go into detail about them today because frankly I haven't organized them yet. I'm still waiting for some things, and I just haven't had the brain space to even think about those things. But I would definitely invite you guys to come over to the Ravelry thread, which is called, the group is called the Happy Knitting Podcast Group, and that's where I have created a chatter thread, and lots of you guys have already been joining in. I'm so sorry about not replying so far, but I've been reading your comments and they've been very, very inspiring for some projects for myself as well. So yeah, let's just jump into finished objects. I have 2 pairs of socks finished this week. I kind of already forgot about them because it's been 2 weeks and I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. But I apparently finished 2 pairs of socks. First up are these socks for me. These are knit out of Bärenwolle in her soft sock, barefoot sock base, which is an 80-20 merino nylon blend. Last week I told you guys that this might have been a one-of-a-kind colorway. It turns out it isn't. It's called rollerblades. And they are just very long, basic vanilla socks for myself. So I did 20 rows of 2x2 rib, I think 80 or 90 rows of stockinette, my usual garter stitch fish lips kiss heel, and a Kitchener toe. So I am super excited about these. Like I said, I kind of forgot about them, so now that I've found them again, I'm looking forward to actually wearing them. I really like how the yarn has knit up and kind of pulled, but not too much. I think it's really pretty. I'll try to give you a close-up. And I think most of you know how much I love Bärenwolle yarn. Vicky is the dyer behind Bärenwolle. She's in Germany. And yeah, I really just enjoy it every time I work with her yarn. So these socks are for me. I also finished a second pair of socks, which aren't going to be for me. These are some stripy socks out of Nicole C. Mendes yarn, which is also a who is also a German indie dyer, mostly famous for her self-striping yarn and striping yarn clubs. This was, I think the August or September colorway. It was called Poppy. It's in her soft sock base, which is an 80-20 merino once again. I did vanilla socks, and for these ones I got them to match exactly, and I put in matching, what are these called? Afterthought heels. So again, a vanilla sock. I really enjoy knitting with strapping yarn, as it seems most people do, most knitters do. What else should I say about them? Again, both of the pairs I just showed you are 64 stitch socks, and these will be a gift. I didn't bring out my sock blockers today, so I'm sorry about that, but I think with these kind of socks you don't necessarily need sock blockers. But I'm happy to have these done, and yeah, they will go to a loving home for sure. So that's it for my finished objects. I also have a couple of works in progress to show you. First of all, last week I showed you a lace shawl, the water shawl, I think it's called. And I haven't worked on it at all, and in fact I am kind of thinking about frogging it. I'm not really sure yet because it was a fun project, but quite frankly I'm not interested in the product, in the finished product very much at the moment, because I just don't feel like I need another lacy shawl that constantly needs to be blocked. And I'm very much in the state of, if it doesn't make you happy, frog it sort of mindset at the moment. So for now I haven't been working on it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to feel better if I just take it apart, or if maybe if I look at it again I will actually want to finish it. So jury's still out on that, but in better news, I have picked up my Good Vibes shawl again, which I've been knitting on forever and forever, and finally I have some progress to show you. The Good Vibes shawl is a pattern by NCL Knits, who I believe is in the French part of Switzerland. Don't quote me on that. Let's just show it to you guys. This is a 2-skein shawl project, and the sun is coming in. Let's see how that goes. And I completely underestimated how much knitting would be involved with this shawl. I don't know what I was thinking, but this is so much knitting. The yarn I'm using is, this is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in the Cactus Flower colorway. And this one is Golden Yarns in the Dixon colorway, which is a Walking Dead inspired colorway. So I've shown this to you a couple of times while I was still working on the first part, which is just a half pie sort of shawl. And this took me forever. And again, I didn't expect that at all, but looking back, it almost took a full skein of yarn already. So if I had just looked at the pattern and thought about it, I should have known that this was going to take me forever. And now I am in the lace section, and this is a lace short row shawl. Let's just see if I can show you. Yeah, this is the right side. So this is all bunched up on the needles, as you can tell, but how beautiful is this knitting up? Isn't this just gorgeous? This brings me so much joy. So each of these stripes involves lace and short rows, and it's actually quite fun. Obviously, with each short row, the rows get longer, so it becomes a bit harder to work on, but I've been sort of just sitting down and knitting half a chunk, and then in my next knitting section, knitting the second half, and then starting out all over again, and that has somehow made it somewhat manageable. So I think I've done 4 stripes, and I have 3 more to go. And I think I'm going to love this finished object once it's done. I think this is going to bring me so much joy, and I'm going to wear this a ton. This is all knit out of singles yarn and on a relatively tight gauge, because I went down from 4mm to 3.5mm needles. So it is super squishy, and yeah, I love this. I really, really, really look forward to having this done. But I'm also really enjoying the process, which is what I wasn't exactly feeling with my other shawl that I just talked about. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. Possibly I might be finished with that next week, but no promises made today. By the way, how cute is this flamingo project bag? I especially love the fact that it has flamingos going one way, and then upside down on the other way. I think that's actually really cute. Sorry, I just had to grab one work in progress that I forgot to bring. So I have 2 new sock cast-ons to show you this week. The first one is a cast-on that I did for Kai. I've really been enjoying knitting him socks lately, so I decided he deserved some more. So last episode I showed you some yarn that I got at the Yarn Festival from this company. They're called Ätherische Öle und Mehr. They're again a German-based yarn dyeing company, and they have lots of really colorful, fun, and relatively affordable yarn. So this is just in their standard sock base, in their 75-25 wool polyamide blend. It doesn't have a colorway name. I don't think any of their colorways are repeatable. And this is what the yarn looks like. It's a very variegated, colorful, sort of autumnal, green and orange mostly colorway. So I cast on some vanilla socks for Kai and finished the first one. I really expected this to be more colorful, but the way that it just turned out to pull made it actually quite subdued, I think. So you can see here on the garter stitch heel, you can see all the colors. Come on, focus. But then in the actual sock, you can see it's just pulled in a really sort of interesting fashion. And well, yeah, I guess I really like it. I really like how this turned out. Again, you can see it's just a vanilla sock. Again, I didn't bring out any sock blockers, but I cast on 68 stitches for Kai and then just knit a vanilla sock. Recently, he has been asking for a longer cuff, so I actually don't know how many rows it is, but it is a little bit longer than I usually make his socks cuff, the cuffs of his socks. Words are failing me. But we're just going to keep going. Yeah, not much else to say about these. This is the first time I'm working with this base of theirs, they're 75-25. It's definitely a sturdy base, but I do like how the fabric is working up. It isn't sort of scratchy or anything like that. And sometimes I don't like working with rougher bases, like just the knitting part of it, but with this base I actually do quite like it. So the first sock is done, and the second one has been cast on. As usual with my gift socks, I tend to get a bit more of second sock syndrome, but I did make it through the ribbing, so now I just have to zip down the leg, put in a heel, and really if I just worked on them, I think they would be done relatively soon. So that is my sock whip number 1. My second sock whip involves the first shipment of the latest Hedgehog Fibers Yarn Club. So if you are in the Hedgehog Fibers Sock Club and you haven't received your September shipment, not the October one, the September one, you will have to look away because I'm going to show the yarn, but I'm assuming that everyone should have gotten theirs by now. I got mine about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So the colorway that was part of the club was called Flytrap, and it was this really cool sort of, for me, looking like spooky, Halloweeny, Frankenstein sort of crazy yarn. This is in their sock base, which is their 90% merino, 10% nylon base. And I decided to cast on some socks for myself because I really needed some cheering up. And once again, I did finish the first sock already. I have been wanting to knit more blueberry waffle socks for a while. It is a very popular and free sock pattern on Ravelry, and I tend to wear my blueberry waffles a lot. I think I've knit 3 pairs so far, and it's just a really comfortable, squishy, fun fabric, and I really like knitting it as well. So I thought it would be perfect for this very speckly, variegated yarn, and this is how it's turned out. So I once again 20 rows of 2x2 rib, which seems to be my standard at the moment. And then I just did the blueberry waffles on the front and back of the sock until I reached the heel. As usual, I did my garter stitch fish lips kiss heel, and then I did the bottom of the foot in stockinette, and the top of the foot continued in the blueberry waffle pattern. I'm really excited about these. I've already tried them on. I think the colorway is just super fun, and they're definitely bringing me lots of joy. Again, the second one has been cast on pretty much at the same stage as my other sock is. I really should work on these some more. I don't know, I kind of forgot about them in the last couple of days, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing 64 stitches and as usual using a 2.25mm US size 1 needle. So those are my 2 sock works in progress. Like I said, the only other work in progress I have is my lace shawl, and I have started to work again on my granny strap crochet blanket. Funny thing was, I actually got it out and wanted to frog it. I've been thinking about frogging it and starting another granny square blanket instead because I hadn't really warmed up with the whole granny stripe thing. But then I took it out and decided to just change my approach as to what I was doing with it, and now I actually really like it. So let me show it to you first. I just show you some part of it because it is quite wide. But this is where I am with it, so I've made quite a bit of progress. I think the last time I showed it to you, I was somewhere like down here. Like, I think the blue stripe was the first stripe that I added since showing it to you. And I've just been adding random minis. I'm not just going to go through them because I think that'll be quite boring. But this is how it's working up. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook and following the pattern by Addict24 as everyone seems to be doing. The reason why I had mixed feelings about this blanket was because when I started it, I was quite conscious of the colors, so I wanted to do sort of more pastel and light colors. And hang on, focus issues. And also, I was always doing 2 rows, or 1 row there and 1 row back, and then I would change colors. And I was finding that really annoying, and somehow just the whole process didn't work for me. I liked the aesthetic, but I didn't enjoy the process. And then I started changing from doing magic knots to doing Russian joins. Because I thought that might sort of help me get along with it, but I don't really enjoy doing Russian joins. So I was, like I said, planning to frog this and then decided, well, what if I just kind of let go of all that planning and color management and just go nuts? So that's exactly what I've been doing. I haven't been doing like exactly 2 rows of every color. I've just been crocheting whatever the heck I wanted to crochet and putting in crazy colors, and just, I think I stopped overthinking it, and that's when it really started to be fun again for me. So I went back to doing magic knots. All these ends, they have been woven in, I just need to clip them. And now this is bringing me a lot more joy. So I'm really happy to have found my spirit for my crochet granny strap blanket again. I know people seem to sort of just bang these out within a couple of months, and I've had mine for ages and it's still tiny, but I don't really care. I'm really enjoying it and glad to be working on it again. So that is my scrappy granny strap blanket. And that's also it for my works in progress. I feel like I'm going way too fast with this. So let's talk about acquisitions, because it's been a while and some stuff has started to accumulate. First of all, I blame this purchase and this knitting plan entirely on Tracy of the Grocery Girls and Candice of the Pin Feathers and Pearls podcast. They have been talking so much about the Veronica Cardi, which is a cardigan pattern by Shannon Cook, I believe. And at some point I just snapped and decided I need one of those cardigans as well. I think it's a really good sort of throw-on cardi that I could, for example, just take to work and just throw it over anything if it gets too cold. And I just sort of impulse bought yarn for it. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money on this one. I didn't actually want to buy yarn, but all the sweaters quantities that I did have weren't enough yardage-wise. So I jumped the gun and I ordered myself some drops yarn. I've talked about drops yarn before. I really actually like their yarn, especially for garments, because it is very affordable, but also I really like the quality. So this is Drops Lima. And this is colorway number 4434. I really like how sort of heathered this colorway is. That's what really drew me to it. I wanted something neutral to start with, but I got this on a sale, of course. and the neutrals that I liked weren't available anymore, so I decided to go with the next best thing, and so I decided to knit another purple cardigan. I know I have quite a lot of purple things, but all my sweater quantities that I have in my stash are grey and sort of beigey grey, so I've decided that purple is a step up, but it's still not too crazy. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I don't think it's the correct weight, but it's close enough that I should be able to make it work, and it's an oversized cardigan anyway, so who really cares? The only thing that I'm kicking myself for is I'm planning to knit the smallest size, which I think uses 1200 and something meters. And I ordered exactly 12 balls of this, and this has 100 meters per ball. This is 160 per ball. So why the heck didn't I get 1 or 2 extra skeins? I don't know. Like, I'm just making life harder for me by, I don't know what was going on in my head. I was just impulse shopping, and in hindsight, it was a bit stupid not to get 1 or 2 extra balls just to be safe. But oh well, there we go. So I got 12 balls of these. I'm just going to show you one. And since I was already ordering it, and like I said, very cheap, very affordable, and on sale, I decided to grab a few balls of their newest, or at least known to me, yarn line, which is their Drops in Nord. They just brought this out very recently. It's a fingering weight. And you know, I really like fingering weight yarns. This is a 45% alpaca, 30% polyamide, 25% wool blend. So theoretically, I could use this for socks and make alpaca socks. I could really use this for anything, so I just decided to get it in 2 colors to see if I would like it. Possibly for a future sweater project, since you know I'm all about the sweaters lately. Like I said, fingering weight, 170 meters per 50 grams, and I got color 17 and color 7. I just thought that would be cute, and from the feel of it, I really like it. I talked about their Flora base before, which is also a fingering weight yarn of theirs, but that doesn't have any nylon in it, I think. But this one feels a little bit softer, and you can definitely feel the alpaca in it. So I think I might actually really like this. I'm going to test drive this at some point, maybe with some color work, we'll see. And if I like it, I will definitely be using this for future sweaters, because I really like the colors that they had as well. I really like the sort of oatmeal color. I would have liked to do my Veronica cardi in this colorway as well, but like I said, they didn't have it. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I will definitely let you know how I like these yarns whenever I will use them. Next up, I did get the October shipment of the Hedgehog Fibers Sock Club. So if you're in the club and you haven't received it, and I did only get this a couple of days ago, look away now, because I will be showing it. You have been warned. So like I said, it's a sock club. You get 2 skeins of yarn. And the first skein I got is called Playground, and I really, really like it. It's kind of blowing out on screen, but it's a lot of really fun colors mixed together. I especially like the blue and neon green speckles in here. This is definitely the sort of Hedgehog Fibers style yarns that I've been wanting in this club, and I'm really enjoying it. The second colorway is a bit less in my comfort zone, but I actually really, really like it as well. And that's this one. It is very autumnal. It is called Squash. I like how this time it's called sort of like a Halloweeny or autumnal colorway, and last month was also sort of season appropriate. So I really enjoy these things, but maybe I'm just making it up. Again, I really like how they have put the unexpected pink in this one, and this one is a lot more tonal than all of the Hedgehog Fibers yarns I've used before, but I really like it. So I'm once again very happy with this collab. I love the first shipment, I'm loving the second one, and yeah, I'm definitely a Hedgehog Fibers convert. Not that it took me much to convince. Not that it was hard to convince me, I should say. But oh well, that is my sock club. The last acquisitions I have came in a huge package from my lovely friend Grace. who I love dearly. We have been chatting all the time, and somehow she ended up ordering some knit picks yarn for me. So I told her exactly what I wanted when she ordered hers on sale, and she offered to order me some as well and send it to me. With the package, she also sent me a huge amount of Halloween stuff because, yes, Grace, you are the one who got me into Halloween, so that was really hilarious, but I'm not going to show all of that on the podcast because I think for most viewers of this podcast, that would be quite boring, although for me, that is really, really fun and was the best part of the package. What I will show you are these amazing stitch markers that Grace sent me. I'll show them to you in the bag first. Stitch markers are always so hard to show. She made them herself out of polymer clay, I assume. And there are some colorful donuts, and then these are my favorite. These are little macaroon stitch markers, and they look so perfect. Rips, come on. There we go. And these just so cute. She sent me a whole bunch of them. I'm not going to show you each and every one, but they are awesome. And some of them are also kind of Halloween-y, like this one. And I told her she should be selling these in her Etsy store. So maybe you guys, if you want some, you can help me convince her, because I think they are so beautiful. I have to show you one more. She sent me some donuts as well, and I love these. These are stitch markers, but what I think I will be doing is I will be attaching those to my bulb-shaped stitch markers that I got from Haya Haya. I tend to do that a lot with progress keepers, stitch markers like these, because I use stitch markers mostly to clip onto my projects. So that way you can just attach them to a bulb stitch marker, and this would make a lot more sense if I had just brought one over, but oh well. And that way I can use them all the time. So that was really awesome. Thank you so much, Grace. And then let me just get the package. She sent me some leftover yarns, or minis, or maxis I should say. This is a colorway that she was knitting up, I think it's by Opal, and I just really fell in love with the colorway, but we couldn't really figure out what it was. Otherwise I would have just ordered it straight away. So she sent me her leftovers, and this is quite a substantial amount of yarn. So I should definitely be able to get a good sized pair of socks out of this. Sorry, I can't tell you what it is. I'm 95% sure it is an opal skein, but that's all I can tell you. She also sent me this mini skein, or leftover bit. This is Regia in the Floromania colorway, which I know because I used this many years ago to knit my sister a pair of radioactive socks. So I'm super excited about this. This will definitely become something fun. Maybe something involved in a neon west knit shawl or something, but definitely very fun. And she also included some awesome minis for me. These are just really beautiful, and they will most definitely be going into my blanket. The yarn that I ordered, or asked her to order for me from Knits Picks, first of all, I really have been wanting to get some more hawthorn fingering, because I really like the hawthorn fingering base by Knit Picks. And this is the colorway that I chose. It is very autumnal and very much my new obsession. I haven't really been into these colors in the past, but lately I really like them. And this is hawthorn fingering in the Kenton colorway, 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide fingering weight. So that's the first skein that I picked, and I'm super excited for it. And then of course I really wanted to get some Knit Picks Felici. So I picked two colors. In hindsight I really should have picked some more, but oh well. So the first one that I picked, and I got two skeins of this, or two balls of this, is Knit Picks Felici in the mint chip colorway. I think this is just a really fun colorway. Can't wait to knit this up. And the second colorway that I chose is this one. Again, really fun colorways. I guess you would pronounce the name Cheshire Grin, but my English is failing me right now, so I'll just show you the label. But again, I really like Knit Picks Felici. It's just really fun to knit with. I will say that I don't think Knit Fix Felici socks hold up too great. I'm not a huge fan of how they wear over time, but lots of people seem to really like it, so maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm too hard on my socks. I don't care. I think they're really fun, and I will keep knitting Knit Fix Felici socks. And if they only last a year or something, I don't really care. So that's it for my yarn haul. One thing I forgot to mention was my own progress regarding the challenge KAL. So one of the challenges that I had set for myself was to do some color work, and my first project was going to be a pair of color work mittens. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked because my phone seems to be going crazy. Let's see how that goes. So anyways, I have actually started that. And I will be honest, I think I failed miserably. Not because I couldn't figure out the color work part, but because I didn't find a pattern, and then I just started to make stuff up and do my own thing, and then I kept ripping it out and starting all over, and I'm not going to show you where I am at the moment because quite honestly I'm not very happy with it so far, and it's been doing the opposite of bringing me joy. It's actually making me very, very frustrated. It's like, I usually am quite good at knitting. Well, how can this be so hard? And I know that's exactly what the challenge KAL is for, and oh well, we'll see how it goes. I have tried and I will keep trying, but as of now I don't really have anything worth showing to you guys. But I just wanted to mention that because I think it's important to be honest about the fact that not all knitting turns out to be pretty and perfect and all that. So there we go. And with that, I will quickly and very briefly talk about life in general. So if you're only here for the knitting content of this show, then I will just see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. And if you do want to stick around, I'll try not to waffle on for too long. Although apparently you guys really like my wafflings, so I don't know. That's strange, but oh well. First of all, I guess I should explain why last week I really was planning to record last weekend, but honestly so much stuff has been going on, and although I know you guys probably would like to know what's going on, I don't really want to go into that right now, and I would really appreciate if you guys wouldn't start having crazy speculations or anything like that either. Safe to say, stuff is going on, and last weekend I wasn't doing very well, and I really noticed how just getting out and doing stuff and keeping busy was the best thing for me. So instead of sitting at home and recording a podcast and possibly going crazy, last Sunday when I was planning to record, I very quickly decided to actually go on a trip with Kai and some friends. So we drove down to Lake Eibsee, which is close to the Zugspitze, which is a very high mountain in the Alps. And that was really, really nice. It's a 95k journey from Munich, and crazily enough it took us 2.5 hours to get there and 3.5 hours getting back. So that was insane. That was 6 hours in the car for what shouldn't have taken more than 3 hours tops for the entire journey back and forth. But nevertheless, it was such a beautiful trip. I will either have already shown some video in the beginning of the episode, or I will definitely record it, or I will definitely put it in the end of the video. But it was really, really beautiful, and it felt like a little holiday and was exactly what I needed, so that was great. And I just really lately have been, I guess since working full-time, have been realizing how much I do need to sort of take care of myself as well and just know my limits. And you know, I always reserve the right to, when I am too busy or life gets too much, to reserve the right to not podcast, and I'm sure you guys will understand. So maybe that's a bit of an explanation about last week and why there was no podcast. This week has been crazy, to say the least, as well. Again, I'm hoping stuff will work itself out, and don't be worried, me and Kai are fine. it's just life, and if it were easy, it wouldn't be life, would it? So all in all, everything is fine. You don't need to be worried about me. It's just been sort of the reason why I haven't been knitting as much, and also why things like the challenge KAL and doing huge color work projects or doing anything that involves sort of thinking too much just hasn't been at the back of, well, hasn't been my first priority. In an ideal world, I would have liked to sort of start the KAL more officially and have more of a plan, but I'm just doing the best that I can. I also know that I haven't replied to last week's comments on the video. I will do that, I promise. But yeah, life is just, it just happens, and I think it's really important to remember that we do this for fun. At least I do. I knit for fun, and I do the podcast for fun. I have no greater goal in terms of, I don't know, making business with this or selling anything or promoting anything. It is really supposed to be something that brings me joy and happiness, and that's the way I want to keep it. So I guess today is Saturday. We had some really fun brunch with a friend of ours that we haven't seen in, I think, 1.5 years this morning. That was really fun. It's been really, really beautiful and autumnal outside for the last week or so, even though that's apparently supposed to change tomorrow, so oh well. Besides that, I'm really looking forward to just hanging out and doing some knitting, and I'm definitely feeling better than I was last week, so that's a good start. We'll see how things go, and as soon as I can and feel like it, I will definitely open up more about what's going on. So enough about the secretive stuff. I always hate it when people go on and go on and on and on about the same thing. So I don't know why I'm doing it right now. Probably that means I should end the podcast, because I think I'm pretty much out of things to say. So I just wanted to end this podcast with just thanking you guys once more for being awesome viewers, and I just love this community, and everyone keeps saying it, and it's such a cliche, and it tends to come across as fake or whatever, but it's really the truth. This knitting community and our Ravelry group and just talking to you guys means so much to me. I'm really happy that I managed to record a podcast episode, unless something goes horribly wrong now with the recording, but let's just hope for the best. I might be back next week. I will probably be back within the next 10 days, because it is one full week, and then the week after we have 2 public holidays, which is a huge win and much needed. So I should be able to record a podcast in that time, somehow, sometime. We will figure it out. Until then, I would love to see you over in the Ravelry group. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great knitty weekend. Bye!